Hello and welcome to the Word of the Day podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Jamie Silva, recording not so long ago in the RAV4 studios. Today's word is akin. Akin, an adjective, means very simply like or similar. And the phrase you always use here is akin to. And then you fill in the blank with whatever the thing you're talking about is like or is similar to. The online definition of akin is very much akin to my definition of akin, reading, quote, of similar character, unquote. And character in this case, by the way, doesn't mean someone's personality or disposition, but just a general quality or nature, sort of like how you would say, I disliked the asparagus because it possessed a stringy and bitter character. The etymology here is pretty interesting. Akin is very closely related to, and actually contains within it, the word kin, which means family or relatives. If this reminds you of the word clan in the Scottish sense, then you have the right idea, because clan in the Gaelic language means children or offspring. In this case, if someone is in your clan, they're family. Thus, getting back to kin, you could say that it's nice to have all your kin around for the holidays, or perhaps that one should never loan money to kin, that sort of thing. Also, there is the phrase kith and kin, which is intentionally a little redundant because kith is another word for family, although it also includes your friends and acquaintances, and perhaps even, in older times, your countrymen as well, your fellow citizens. So if you were having your kin over for dinner, or what is just the same, your kinsmen or your kinsfolk, you would want to prepare some extra food. If, on the other hand, you were having your kith and kin over for dinner, you'd probably be preparing food all day, or perhaps you would just want to ask all of your kith and kin who were visiting to bring a dish to share. The word kith, unfortunately, is extinct outside of this phrase kith and kin, which you will see now and again. In an extremely interesting development, the word akin itself has as a separate definition, quote, related by blood, unquote. Related by blood just means related in the family sense, like you share genes. And thankfully, people seldom toss around this full phrase in their daily lives, because saying, hey, you two look alike, are you related by blood? That sounds a little too Dracula-esque for my tastes. Anyway, this lesser or alternative meaning of akin makes sense, I think, because if you were to separate the word akin into its component parts, the letter A and then kin, you suddenly have a relative or a relation, a family member. So the sentence, I am akin to Kelly, literally means I am related to Kelly. And if I'm related to Kelly, if she is my kin, it would not be at all surprising if we were akin to each other, similar to each other, in some other ways. So the neighbors might say, oh, Jamie is akin to Kelly in that he also likes to sit outside and paint still life watercolors of people's mailboxes. Now, I'm not asking you to use akin in this related by blood sense. Again, that's much less common, much less useful. But I do think it's neat that by saying that things are akin to each other, you're kind of saying they're family. They are each other's kin. So let's move on to usage for akin. This word, logically, is frequently used to relate things to each other in either a literal or metaphorical sort of way. A literal example might be, surfing is easy. It's very much akin to skateboarding, except the substance beneath your board is constantly moving and may contain sharks. So here, I'm drawing a comparison between two tangible things, activities in this case, that I think have a lot in common. On the other hand, a metaphorical example might be, reading a good novel is akin to transporting yourself into the world where the book's events take place. Here, akin serves the same purpose as perhaps the phrase, this is figuratively like something, or as many today would have it, this is literally like something. It isn't hard to imagine people saying, you know, reading The Great Gatsby is literally like you're attending lavish parties hosted by a mysterious and lonely billionaire, which obviously makes no sense, and really you should say reading that book is akin to placing yourself in that setting. So there you have it. One thing can be like another in either a literal or a figurative sense, and akin to works in both cases. Keep in mind also that a lot of the time, the phrase is used to make very basic comparisons, like apples are akin to oranges in that they're both fruits, or hawks are akin to eagles in that they're both birds of prey. You can get fancier than this, and I would encourage you to, but it isn't mandatory. that very basic meaning of X is like Y or X is similar to Y. That is a perfectly legitimate usage of akin. Let's now check out a couple examples of akin in ordinary conversation. Example number 1. Baseball today is somewhat akin to its early form as played in the late 19th century, but many improvements have been made. Gloves, for example, didn't pop up until 1875, and when they did, those who first adopted them were looked down upon as soft and wimpy types. Example number 2. Getting your shoes and socks super wet is akin to walking around in your own personal puddle all day. Our next couple examples come from literature where this word pops up a whole lot. Example number 3 from A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. Quote, "She did not greatly alter in appearance. The plain, dark dresses, akin to mourning dresses, which she and her child wore, were as neat and as well attended to as the brighter clothes of happy days." Example number 4 from Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. And this is from a part in which Dr. Frankenstein is describing his childhood and his early love of scientific pursuits. Quote, "The world was to me a secret which I desired to divine. Curiosity, earnest research to learn the hidden laws of nature, gladness akin to rapture as they were unfolded to me, are among the earliest sensations I can remember." Okay, there you have it. That is the word. Special thanks today to producer Pete, who is akin to a guinea pig around here because we're always asking him to try things out and put himself in the real-life context of the words or examples we're exploring in order to connect with them in a thorough and authentic sort of way. So for this show, and for example number 1 specifically, we went to a baseball diamond and did not give him a glove and hit him some grounders and the occasional line drive for a few minutes, and thus we were able to confirm that the invention of the baseball glove was a great step forward for the sport, at least in terms of comfort. So thank you, producer Pete, and remember that icing injuries, especially in pickle juice, is akin to drinking some sort of healing potion, because whatever is wrong with them heals super quickly. To all of our listeners, thank you very much for tuning in. We hope it was akin to taking the most instructive and entertaining university class you could imagine, except without the written exam at the end. And if you haven't liked our page on Facebook yet, consider doing so. We occasionally share tidbits about the words and pictures where you can see the words come alive in another way. You can find it probably by searching for Word of the Day Podcast or at WOTD Podcast on Facebook, or you can just go to our website, WOTDpodcast.com, where all the social media links appear. This has been the Word of the Day Podcast. I'm Jamie Silva, and we'll see you next time.